Okay, welcome back. In this video, we're going to work on a few new features. The first one is when I win the game, it tells me correct, and then I can click play again to get new colors. And if I haven't won yet, but I also want new colors because for some reason I don't like the colors that I have, I can also click that new colors button. So basically we need a button that will reset the game, pick new colors, pick a new random color up here out of the 6 random colors. We'll come back to the easy and hard mode last. So this button, it does the same thing. The text changes though if we've won the game, and it asks if we want to play again. So we can click play again, and that will reset it. But I can also click new colors, and that will also reset it. So that's what we're going to focus on. And to start, I'm going to go ahead and add in the button and add that stripe that goes across. So that stripe will contain this button for new color or for play again. And it contains the message that we already have, and then the 2 buttons that we'll do later. So if we go, the first thing we need to do, we already have a div. I'm just going to give it ID of stripe, and then we can use that. And then we already have our span inside that will show something like correct or try again. And inside here, we'll just add our button. And this button will start by saying new colors. We can save. If we refresh, okay, that looks about just as bad as you would expect. Let's go ahead and add the white background color and center everything in this div. So our div is called stripe. Let's go to our CSS, and we're going to select stripe, which is an ID. So we need to use stripe with an octothorpe, and we're going to set background color, background to be white. I'm going to set the height to be 30 pixels so that we have a nice and tall div, or relatively tall div. And I'm going to set text align to be center. And now if I refresh, we get a white div, goes all the way across. It's a little bit taller than it was. We have our button in here, it doesn't do anything. And if I win or lose or get the wrong answer, there's a span, you just can't see it. And that's because the text on that span is white. So what you might think about doing is going into our stripe, the div, and saying the text color should be black. But unfortunately that doesn't work. And this is an issue of specificity, because we're saying that with this line right here, everything inside the thing with the ID of stripe should be black, text color black. And you would think, okay, that's an ID, that is super specific. If you can think back to our early CSS specificity lectures, an ID is very specific. The thing is though, this is setting the color to be black on the div with ID stripe. And then we're setting all spans, as you can see here, to be color white. So that's setting this to be white. And that makes it more specific because we're actually targeting the element itself rather than the parent and having it inherit the color. So we have a few options. What I will do is actually just get rid of this for now. We're not going to set the color to be white anymore. And we can refresh. And you'll see that this doesn't change color. It's still a white span, even though we got rid of the line that said all spans are white. And that's because it's inside of an H1 and it inherits the H1's text color, which is white. Same way that this span here is black, it inherited the text color of black, or just regular color black, from the stripe div that's around it, which you can see here, color black, and that's our stripe div. Okay, so let's now work on getting this button to reset the game. So to start, we need to add an event listener, and before we can do that, we need to select that button. So I'm going to give that button an ID here. We'll just call it ID equals reset. And then we'll select that reset button instead of our JavaScript. So var reset button equals document.query selector with our octothorpe reset. And then as always, I like to add my simple test event listener. So reset button.add event listener, click. And when we click, all that will do is do a simple alert, click to reset button. Just like that. We refresh, and if I click on this, I get my alert, and that means we're good to go. So next up, we can actually work on the logic to reset. So what we need to do, let's write the pseudocode. When you click on that button, we need to generate all new colors. We need to pick a new random color from array. And then we need to change the colors of the squares on the page. So to generate all new colors, we actually already have that function existing, generate random colors. So we'll just say colors is now equal to generate random colors of 6. And then we'll pick a new random color. So picked color is now equal to pick color, the method or the function that we defined. There's one more thing we actually need to do, which is change this display color to match the new picked color. So we'll just say change color display to match picked color. So that one is simple. All we need to do is say color display dot text content equals picked color. And if we refresh our page and we try clicking new colors, what it's doing is generating 6 new colors. We're not seeing them yet because we don't have that code. And then it's picking one of those as picked color and then changing what we see here to match picked color. So it gives us a new random color up there and 6 random colors behind the scenes. So the last piece is to reflect those 6 new colors on the page. And we've done that before. Down here, we're looping through all the squares and we're changing square.style.background to be colors I. So I'm going to start by just duplicating all of that here. And we will refactor this. But to start, I'm going to put it all here. So loop through all the squares, squares.length, I++. And then all we need to do is say squares I.style.background equals colors I. And we'll save. And if we refresh and we click on new colors, it generates 6 new random colors. It picks one. It updates the display to reflect the picked color. And it changes all the 6 squares to match the new 6 colors. So let's try it out and see if our previous logic holds up as well. Okay, so this one is a decent amount of red, very little green, and a decent amount of blue. Let's try clicking on some that we don't think are right. And now let's go for one of the purples. So it looks like a little more red than blue, so I'm going to guess this. And we're right. And it looks like things are still working just fine. Click new colors again. We want to reset this. That's a really minor cosmetic thing, but when we click on new colors, we should reset the display here so that it goes back to black or to this dark gray color. The other thing we want to do is that when we win, we want it to say play again, as you can see here. So I'll win here. This one is a lot of green. I win, and it tells me play again. And it does the same thing. Functionally, it doesn't really change. It's just some different text. So that's simple to do. All we need to do is find where the code is to check if you win. That's right here. And then we just want to change the text content of that button. So the button was called reset button. So reset button dot text content equals play again with a question mark. Refresh. It says new colors. Now let's try playing one of these. So this one is a lot of red and a lot of green and a little bit of blue. So a lot of red and a lot of green is going to give us a yellowy color. So let's narrow down some of them. And then a little bit of blue is going to make it lighter and brighter. So if we try one of these like this or this one, you'll see that they're not quite right. And this is our answer here. And it tells us play again. And we click and it does the exact same thing. The last thing, as I mentioned, is changing this background color back. So right here, we can just do that at the end of the reset button. We're just going to select that H1 dot, which we selected here, dot style dot background, whoops, equals, and it's that hexadecimal 232323, which is, if you forgot about that, you could go look in the CSS, the body background color, or we set it down here when we eliminate one of the colors. If you pick the wrong color, we change the background color to be the same as the body. Okay, let's refresh. New colors. Let's win now. Just click randomly just for the sake of time. We click on play again, and it changes back to a black background, or the dark gray background. Okay, so that's all for this video. Next up, we're going to add the buttons to pick between easy and hard mode. And then lastly, we're going to style things so that they look nice.